if I am having a problem right now and I need to break through a ceiling, I can take one of these 7 steps and apply it to this situation and get out of it. That's what it's really for. So the Tenacity Blueprint was written to help you achieve through adversity or exercise that resiliency muscle to in turn live what I'm calling the W.R.I.S.T lifestyle.
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Your Peak Life podcast. DJ Julian Rivera here. I'm not going to introduce this guy yet because he's our special guest today. This is actually a very special episode based on Mr. Mike Little, Mr. Broker from the Bottom, Mr. one of my good friends, Mr. one of my business partners, a.k.a. the founder of Iron Valley Real Estate Hampton Roads, co-founder, author, speaker, just amazing, awesome person. Mike Little has now published his second book. It's not even out yet at the time of recording, but it will be out very soon. The title of his book is called Be Tenacious. This book I just read in a matter of 72 hours. And he didn't expect me to do that, by the way.
I didn't.
Before we even start talking to him, I just want to say that reading this, and I knew about Mike's story enough. He talks about it a lot when he's speaking on stage. He talks about it to us in private a lot, and there's a lot of reminiscences of what he's been through in his life. But this really opens everybody's eyes that's going to read this to another version of Mike Little that you don't know. And this really exemplifies the type of man, the type of journey he's gone through to where he's at today. And if you need any type of motivation, this book should be on your shelf at the house. Actually, it should be on your bedpost by the side of your bed, because this isn't just about being tenacious. This is a story of triumph. This is a story of getting to a goal and then going to the next one. This is a story of not everybody starts from the top. He's the broker from the bottom for a reason. And this book right here gives you that story, but it also gives you tips and tricks along the way. And we're going to talk about the W.R.I.S.T mentality, the W.R.I.S.T blueprint. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, but I want to say, Mike, congratulations on getting another book out here for the public and the world to see this version of you.
Thank you.
Now, you opened this book with an amazing foreword. This foreword was written by your late grandfather.
Yep.
What was the reasoning of the first few lines of this awesome new book to start out with these words from your late grandfather?
Whew. That's a loaded one. So 2023, well, July 7th, 2023 to be exact, my father was found deceased. And from that point, somewhere in that like 4 to 6 weeks following that, my grandfather and I connected on social media. So I had never met my grandfather before. He wasn't in my life, just like my father wasn't in most of my life, which if you read the book, you'll get some details there. So needless to say, I didn't have a great relationship with my father, which meant that I had no relationship with his father up until he passed away, and his father and I connected on social media. And then the following year, there was a real estate conference in Arizona, the Live on Real Summit, Glover U, and my grandfather lived in Arizona, which is also where he was a real estate educator and a real estate broker and owned a title company, all this crazy stuff.
Go figure.
That aligns with my life, right? So we just connected that way, and I got to meet him in person when I went to the summit when it was in Phoenix. I drove to Tucson. So that was the January of 24. I met my grandfather for the first time ever in my life. And it was because of a real estate conference. And there is where I found out that he did all the things I did. He served in the Navy, was a real estate educator, was a real estate broker, owned a title company, was a writer, all these things, which is basically my life. And, we had never met. So we stayed in touch over the course of the next year. And while I was writing this book, he passed away. He was in ICU, and I was hunting for a foreword from a couple of places, some big name authors and speakers that I've had the opportunity to meet or train with, or, at least in person talk to and get some mentorship from. So I was going to try to get one of them to write the foreword, and found out my grandpa was in ICU, and Tim, which, Tim Lewis, he texted me. He said, man, imagine if your grandpa wrote the foreword. It clicked and it was like, that's a phenomenal idea. But I'm just going to ask his wife to like go to him on his deathbed or his bedside and ask him to pen the foreword to my book, you know? But I reached out and I asked. They were elated to oblige. Him and his wife sat on his deathbed and he told her what to write and she typed it and sent it to me. I had it the very next day. And that's why on the foreword, on the top, it says July 10th.
Yeah.
That's when he wrote it. And then on the bottom, it says posthumously published.
Yep.
He died July 19th. That's why that's the foreword in my book.
I mean, you said this is more than a memoir in this book. You said it's a manual.
Yep.
Okay. So it's more like a mirror, a megaphone. Sound familiar?
So it's a memoir, a manual, and a megaphone.
So break that down. Like, what should readers be doing, seeing, and then saying
Everyone
after this book?
seems to like that line. But it does. It fits the book. So when I was talking to my publisher, I didn't want to write just a memoir.
Yeah.
I didn't want to write just a self-help book. I didn't want to write just like a advocacy for, you know, kids that had it rough. I wanted it to be all in one. So when I say it's a memoir, there's a lot of my life story in there. A lot of it. It's not all my life story, but it's a lot about me. But that sets the stage for the mindset, how I think, why my brain works that way, right? So I wanted to give people a little bit of my life experience, which would be the memoir piece. I call it a megaphone because it's for everybody that's like me. Are you a foster child? Are your parents deceased? Did you grow up, you know, a ward to the state, being owned by the system? Do you really understand what it is to have nothing, to be from the actual bottom?
Right.
I think that the first couple chapters in there really give people the true, like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot in there that I don't talk about often because, like, who would, you know?
Yeah.
But I've realized that I'm supposed to. Like, that's what I'm here for. I didn't make it through all the things I made it through to just sit in a corner and be quiet. Like, no,
Right.
I'm the megaphone for all these people.
Right.
Any foster kid, anybody that grew up without their parents, anybody whose family's ridden from drug addiction, anybody who is trying to transition out of the military and make it big in business, anybody who the military tried to tear down, anybody who's been through a divorce, anybody who's had to kick partners out of businesses. I mean, there's just so much value that I can give other people from my experiences. That's what the megaphone piece is about.
Right.
Like, it wasn't just for me. If you read the first dedication, I talk about all my siblings. I talk about, you know, my dad's ex-wife that took me in, the lady that I called mom when I was an orphan. I mention every sailor or leader that I ever worked with, every business partner. Like, it's just everybody that's been a part of the journey deserves to have hope. You know what I mean? Like I put in there, even for all the siblings, like, I hope watching me keeps you pushing forward. Like,
Yeah.
That's the megaphone piece. And the manual is really, I went, so you've been around for all of these things. You've been in a lot of the rooms that I've been on stage for. You were at my last book launch. You know, you've met most of the people that I've coached with or worked with.
Yeah.
So the manual piece is, I went through all this training, public speaker training, writing training, you know, packaging of concepts, monetization, you know, public speaker training from some of the best in the world. And it really was like, how can Mike's message come across without someone saying, oh, he's angry or he's got a chip on his shoulder? Like, how can we get the message across where it's like the story can actually help people?
Right.
And that's when I went to Coach Burt's Activate conference in Nashville. I took Salway and Tim with me. And at that conference, Roy Vaden spoke, who just released Wealthy and Well Known, and is actually the keynote speaker at the Real Producers Elevate conference next month. And I'm on the panel right after he speaks.
Right.
It's crazy. Anyways, I was in Tennessee. Rene Rodriguez spoke. I would later go to his Amplify course. And then Roy Vaden spoke. And Roy Vaden owns Brand Builders. He's built brands for Eric Thomas, Ed Milet.
Yeah.
Like anyone you could think of in this lane, he's pretty much helped them, right? So I was sitting through his speech, And he said that you had to boil your brand down to one word. And I went back to the hotel that night, and I'm asking Tim, I'm like, dude, how do you take like somebody who's born addicted to crack cocaine into chaos, who lives through being a foster child, who is then later dropped off to his father he's never met and becomes an orphan that gets adopted by his dad's ex-wife, to serving in the military, to the military trying to send me home, to an ugly divorce, to I'm leaving the military after 14 years. Now I'm a business startup now. We're, back-to-back Coastal Virginia best of. I just hit 40 under 40 list, which is crazy.
Right.
We talked about it before it even happened. Like, it's not easy to do.
Correct.
And I just was like, how do you put all of that into one, like what one word defines that? So I just started brainstorming like all the character traits that I know about myself, or what Tim thought about me, or I would even ask, if you go on my social, I've asked in the past, like if I ever worked with you, what were my leadership things or whatever. Even with the company, like redoing the mission and vision, it was a lot of fielding the people to get those answers. Right. So I ultimately, it comes out tenacity. And it was like, wait a minute, if you actually go deconstruct the word as a noun, as an adjective, as a verb, like it could have all these different meanings. And I rewrote the definition for tenacity. So I defined it as the power of sustained superior resilience, which is being trademarked right now. So to answer your question, the beginning of the manual or the blueprint came from that. So now that I've identified tenacity as the word for my brand, I started deconstructing or reconstructing it like tenacity is required to win, to rise, to impact, to sustain. So to win, rise, impact, and sustain, which sounds like a pretty amazing life, tenacity is required. That's where I came up with the wrist. So now the slogan's like, it's all in the wrists, right? But when I identified tenacity as my brand, which was based on my demonstrated capacity of what I've done my whole life, which is win through adverse situations. Right? So that's where I come up with the concept of like, to win at anything in life, you have to be tenacious. So tenacity became my brand, and then I redefined tenacity, and then I turned it into a concept, right? So while I was doing that, I was like, well, Eric Thomas has a flight assessment where it's like you go take a test to see where you stand. Michael Burt has a prey drive assessment. Why wouldn't I have a tenacity assessment?
Good question.
So I built one. I went and hired a psychologist that I met through Coach Burt's coach's locker room. Same place I met my VA ratings guy. Same place I wrote my first book, right? Because I got in the room. And her name's CJ. Me, her, and Tim for several months. And people don't really know this because we probably don't talk about it enough. But that tenacity assessment that I provide people was written with a psychologist. Like, so it's not just based on my life experience, which I would say I'm overly qualified, but it's also based on her psychological acumen, her education. So we built the question bank. We went back and forth, and that tenacity assessment gives you a tenacity score, right? Then I wrote the Tenacity Blueprint to help people enhance their tenacity score, because I believe that being tenacious is the number one way to be successful in life, period.
So I want to jump to that wrist blueprint that's 30 full pages in this book.
Okay.
Your book's just a hair over 160 pages, and that last chapter really is the blueprint on what the entire reading of this entire book is about to get there. But you said it already. You're redefining tenacity. It's not just rising. It's not just building. It's more than surviving. But when did that shift happen for Mr. Mike Little? When did that shift happen that you knew that you already are tenacious, and you had to just, for lack of better words, you just had to effing go?
Well, first, I will say the final copy is about 186 pages.
Okay. I got the early one, you can tell.
But the last chapter, it's called The W.R.I.S.T Lifestyle and the Blueprint to Live It. So it's two different concepts in there. So the W.R.I.S.T lifestyle is, what I think everybody should be trying to get to, where no matter what, you're winning, you're rising, you're making an impact, and you sustain that performance. And tenacity is required. So that's like, you get to the ultimate life by being tenacious. But I wrote the Tenacity Blueprint to live the risk lifestyle. And in that blueprint is things like laser focus, adaptive determination, resilient recovery. And these are all broken down. So in that 30 pages, R.I.S.T is broken down to a point of win, rise, impact, sustain, tenacity required. But I actually flip it and I tie it to a story of mine from my life in the earlier chapters. And then I have note workbook pages in there where the reader can say, this is a time when it applied to my life. This is a way I could have used the Tenacity Blueprint to have this turn out better or to have more positive, because that blueprint is really just the 7 tenets of tenacity. It's the 7 steps of being tenacious. It's like, if I am having a problem right now and I need to break through a ceiling, I can take one of these 7 steps and apply it to this situation and get out of it. That's what it's really for. So the Tenacity Blueprint was written to help you achieve through adversity or exercise that resiliency muscle to in turn live what I'm calling the R.I.S.T lifestyle.
So your R.I.S.T lifestyle, just to make sure I'm saying this, it's win, rise, impact, sustain, and tenacity. That's what R.I.S.T, that's the acronym, right?
Correct.
Out of that acronym, what letter do you think people miss the most?
Sustain.
How so? Like, what do you mean?
Because everybody, it's like being a one-hit wonder,
Okay.
Everybody can hit it big once. Everybody can have one good game.
Yeah.
But how do you do it every single day?
Right.
No matter what's going on. And the sustainability is going to be driven by that blueprint where it's like, you're stuck. How do I make this work? Let me go to the 7 steps of the Tenacity Blueprint. And inside that blueprint, one of those steps will help you get through.
Yeah.
For instance, step 7 of the blueprint is courageous action.
Okay.
There is not one time in your life that you will be successful where you won't have to take courageous action.
Yeah.
Right? So just an example, somebody might be trying to make a decision and they're scared, which happens a lot with decisions.
Yeah.
Maybe in that moment they refer to the blueprint and the blueprint says, take courageous action. And what is courageous action? Taking action when you're uncomfortable or even when you think you shouldn't. You know what I mean? For the betterment or the enhanced likelihood of achieving a goal.
Right.
So if that one instant with that one question can change somebody's trajectory, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wrote the blueprint to help people through hard times based on the fact that that's all I've done for 30 plus years. But it took the training with Bert and Rene Rodriguez and going to these conferences and seeing elite speakers and writers perform and studying their art and understanding that Rene Rodriguez said it best to me. He said, a lion doesn't need to roar, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, when you walked in today, we knew you were a lion. You don't have to roar. So it was like flipping, I don't want to be just a motivational speaker. I want to give you actionable takeaways that I know work in your life so you can change the things you want to change. So it was just conceptualizing what I was really trying to get across to people. Yeah. So that came with codifying my brand. So so after I redefined tenacity, and then I'm like, well, tenacity is required to do anything. Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Anybody winning at a high level in any arena, in any industry, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. They've had to be resilient over and over and over again. So that's why I called it the power of sustained superior resilience. And I kind of stole that from the Navy too, because it's sustained superior performer.
Yep.
If people served in the military, they'll get it. But
you remixed it.
Exactly. But I just know that because people would always ask me, how'd you deal with that? How did you get through that? You're always dealing with something crazy. And that's the answer. Tenacity. My resilience muscle has been being worked out since the day I was born. So I'm just trying to give other people the answers to those questions that maybe they don't have.
I'm going to go to your book right now.
Well, I didn't answer your question, though. So let me run back to your question.
Okay.
Your question was, when did I realize that, that was my secret or my superpower? And it wasn't actually in these last couple of years of the training or getting in the room or whatever. It was when the Navy tried to send me packing at the same time my ex-wife was leaving me. And I put all my marbles on me and I won. That was the game changer for me, where it was like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
Right.
Everyone else try to tell you you're crazy when you're right.
Right.
And I learned in that moment, like, no, that's when I knew it was like I could do whatever I want to do. It's on my terms now.
Yeah. Right.
So, and then the secondary moment was getting in the room with these speakers and these other authors and realizing I'm very qualified to do this. I just have to do it. So
You have a lot of lines in this book that I like. A lot.
Well, that's good.
Now, mind you, I'm gonna read this verbatim because
you got something earmarked.
I got something marked on purpose.
Okay.
And, now, mind you, in my version of the book, because I have like the pre-copy copy, y'all are gonna have like the final version. This is page 80 to me, right? So, but you'll find this because this all should be in the same exact chapter. So when you pull this up and you're looking at the chapter, it will be in part 3. The evolution, chapter 8, sailor to salesman and student. Okay, so it says, "It was chaos, but it was mine," and that's where I learned how important sustained superior resilience really is, because it's not just about pushing through the tough days; it's about pushing through them again and again, while the tough days stretch into weeks and months. It's about being strong when no one sees you struggle. It's about waking up before the kids, grinding all day, helping with homework at night, then staying up to write offers, return calls, or study. There is no blueprint for this kind of life. Only commitment, only discipline, only tenacity. Now, a lot of people listening right now, they can relate, okay? They have to. There's people out there that are parents. There's people out there that they're entreployees. I say it all the time. They're working during the day and they got the side hustle at night. It's very, very comparable. When you're in the military and then you're deciding to bow out of something that, in theory, you're there for 20 years. You already know you'll get retirement. You already know you're probably going to get some sort of disability.
I'm bowing out at 14
you're
years,
bowing
by
out
the way.
at 14 years, less than 6 years away from getting the rest of your life check. You're either crazy or you're right, or both.
As a single father with 2 kids, with child support,
Keep it going.
giving my houses away, essentially.
Keep going. So
and trying to figure out how to live paycheck to paycheck on commission after being paid the 1st to 15th for 14 years. All I knew as an adult.
And there's a bunch in there too of you being very open on that, on stating what may or may not be, because you're used to the 1st and 15th. You know, when you're getting out of that consistency when it comes down to the money coming every week. I don't give a shit. It's $100 or $10 million. You're getting it every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That right there can be very comfortable. It's also being complacent with what you're getting. You were never complacent. And it took you a while to realize that from a numbers perspective, from a ceiling perspective, you could do whatever the hell you want to, but you knew you had to take it into your own terms. What made you realize on year 14 that I'm going to get out, I'm going to go all in on the side hustle that you were doing to turn into the CEO and founder you are of Iron Valley Real Estate Hampton Roads today?
So I wanted to get out of the Navy for a while. When I went to shore duty, I just realized, like, oh, I really don't like this. Like, shore duty was whack to me. Like, I was used to a different kind of tempo, being ship's company, always being out to sea, always being deployed.
Yep.
And then you put me in, like, this little concrete building
Right.
with, like, I just didn't enjoy it. It just isn't in my head what the military was supposed to be. So I went and got my real estate license on the side back in 2010. So from the winter of 2010 until I got out in 2019, I was doing real estate part-time on top of the Navy.
Right.
But there was a year in particular on shore duty that I made 6 figures on the side, and I was like...
Uh-oh. Light bulb moment.
Right, and I'm sitting here like, well, imagine if I gave all my time to my business.
Right.
And I went back and forth, in my previous relationship, and ultimately I decided to re-enlist even though I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So from, I would say, probably 2013, 2014, I was like, I need to get out and go run my business, but I chose not to because I thought it was what was best for my family.
Yep.
And turns out that when I was going to get out of the Navy, I also was dissolving that family as well.
Yeah.
So it's just, for me, it just became, I don't have to answer to anybody, and I've always wanted to do this.
Right.
And now that the Navy has tried this and this went down this way, I'm just going to bet on me.
Yeah.
And that was really it. Like, I knew I was going to do real estate. Did I know that we were going to 7 franchises, almost 400 people, all this stuff like where we are now? No, I didn't even know we were going to open a title company. I didn't know any of that.
Right.
I just knew that I was going to sell real estate. That
Yep.
was like the goal. And then that turned into a team. And then the team turned into a firm. And then
Yep.
the firm turned into this whole movement. So I knew I was going to do real estate. I just wasn't aware that really it gradually became me just doing what I was doing in the Navy, which is being a leader. So
You've always been a natural born leader. I mean, outside of the real estate firm that you've opened, that you've co-founded in the area, you've co-founded Noble Title, you've co-founded many other businesses. You're now building your brand based on the leadership qualities you've had since you were born, Mike. You've had this in you, and it took a lot of trials and tribulations, for lack of better words, to realize that. And now you're just in go mode. To be fair, you've always been in go mode. Even when you were a chief in the military, you were in go mode, leading people, leading hundreds of sailors, if not more, to whatever the mission was, and accomplishing that, rinsing and repeating. Now you're doing that in the role of leading agents, leading other owners, leading other partners in a direction that will help all of their lives, whether it's monetary compensation, whether it's freedom, whether it's a combination of any of that. Because on top of that, the training and everything that has happened here, the motivation culture that's been cultivated and created is from the vision that you, Eric Edwards, Edgar, Edwin, and everybody involved has gotten there. Matt Cantrell over at Noble Title. Everybody and all the names that I'm mentioning are mentioned in this book.
Yeah,
James is also mentioned in the book. Mr. Andy Nelson mentioned in the book.
Yep.
There's all the names in here.
a lot of them don't know that yet, but there's a lot of people in the book.
There's a lot of them in the book. And I'm sorry if I dropped the dime on this, but the thing is, because he understands one person can start the movement, but it really takes a team to get to the end.
Absolutely.
You know, it can't happen like that. I mean, it can, but not everyone's
Nothing
Superman.
great is achieved alone.
It's
that simple.
It's not.
It's
at
just
all.
it's just not a thing.
If you want to be sustainable, it's not going to be achieved
There you
alone
go.
for the rest of your life. So I'm gonna do a few rapid fire questions here. All right. By the way, he has no idea of any of this.
I don't at all.
Okay. I wanted to surprise him with this. I want you to finish this sentence. Tenacity looks like blank when no one's watching.
Self-reflection.
What is your favorite failure?
You know, I don't really believe in failure. I say there are no losses, just lessons. So for me, my favorite failure is every one because I don't really believe in it. Like I think that any failure is just one step closer to success. A lot of people go with the first attempt in learning, if
Yep.
you will. But for me, it's just failure's required. Like it's just one of the things. You will never be successful if you haven't failed. So I don't really. I made a post the other day on Facebook, something about a warrior need not be concerned about a lost battle because it's required to win the war. So it's just like you didn't fail, you just have another opportunity to win.
Boom.
That's like how I look at it.
What is your most underrated habit for tenacity?
Most underrated habit. Consistency, man. Consistency. Like it. A lot of people think it always has to be 100%, but sometimes 10% is better than 0.
That's true.
So that's half the battle. Just like they say, like the heaviest weight of the gym will always be the door. Like just go. So I think it's just the consistency, being able to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, maybe revert to that blueprint if you're struggling. Like,
There you go.
Like which one of these tactics can help me through this?
Right.
Because I know they'll help you.
Yeah.
Like I just know. Like you can't tell me they won't. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know when the last time somebody had the door kicked in and SWAT had, you know, red dots on their head, or they got a call that somebody died of a heroin overdose, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I have very drastic instances in my life where it's like, if I can get through that, then I know these things can help you get through whatever you're dealing with.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
What's one thing you've changed your mind about this year that helps you be more tenacious?
One thing I changed my mind about, I think just the fact that patience can also be part of doing things tenaciously. Like tenacity or tenaciousness doesn't always mean right this second or right this moment or right now or it's so urgent. Sometimes tenacity also needs to be calculated. So I would say that. You guys know I'm very go, go, go. Like this book isn't even out yet. I already wrote the next one.
Yep.
So it's like sometimes I need to be kept in line where it's like, say the publisher hey, no, you can't post that yet. Or, hey, no, don't do the book cover challenge yet. Or, no, you probably shouldn't do both books in one day because you might sell yourself short of an additional bestseller or whatever it is. So I have this concept. I haven't rolled any of this out yet, but tactical tenacity.
Okay.
So, just like being tenacious, but doing so in an intelligent fashion. So I would say that.
Mike, I can agree with you because when we first met, I'm a go guy myself, but you have definitely pivoted since we've met and since we've started working together in that world regarding patience, because not everyone is like you.
There's not a single fucking soul alive like me.
But then the problem is that when we start comparing ourselves to other people, whether it's work ethic, whether it's let's get this done like yesterday, we start getting disappointed with the people that we trust and love around us in business and in family when it was never, the delivery and the outcome was never supposed to be that way.
Yeah, so sometimes you just got to chill the fuck out.
Correct. Mike has learned to chill the F out, which is really cool. And I have definitely seen that. That was a really good, thoughtful realization of yourself. And that was actually one of the ones I was excited to hear you answer. We're talking about your book, man. And before we wrap this up, we need to know, where should people pre-order Be Tenacious and connect with you?
Yeah, well, so Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that's Broker from the Bottom. And then the website, brokerfromthebottom.com/Be Tenacious. So that's the pre-sale link. But once you go to my website, it'll prompt for that as well.
Yeah.
It's also not the only book for sale on there. Conquer the Summit of Life is on there. My coaching packages are on there. My upcoming speaking engagements are on there. So yeah, that's really it. You go to brokerfromthebottom.com. You go to Instagram or TikTok. I'm the Broker from the Bottom. If you go to Amazon and just search my name, you'll find my products. And I think we're gonna try to put it up on Barnes & Noble as well. So
This is going to be a New York Times bestseller.
hopefully one day.
We're going to speak this into existence.
I gotta meet my goal and then go shop it. So
Easy day. And next thing you know, fast forward a few years, we're going to see the Netflix documentary about Mike Little and Broken from the Bottom.
Maybe.
That's what we do. We speak into existence. Last thing, if you had to say one thing that people are going to take away from this book universally, what would that be? Edgar read this. I read this. Joe Schmo from down the street read this. What is one thing that they're most likely going to take away from this book that can relate with everybody?
Anything's possible. Here's what I'll say. I don't want any pity. I'm just trying to give you perspective. If I can be where I am right now, coming from what I come from and having gone through everything that I've gone through, what excuse are you giving yourself? Really, I mean, I just, the culture today is everybody wants to get paid. Nobody wants to do the work. Everybody wants the clout. Nobody wants the grind. We just had this conversation with Bink in here. Everybody's trying to get paid off of something that somebody else built when it's so much more fruitful and fulfilling to just build it your damn self.
Right.
No matter what's going on. So really, I'm just hoping that everyone takes away the secret to being successful, the secret to winning in any arena in life is being tenacious. It's literally tenacity. It's how many times can you get back up and keep moving forward? Brush yourself off and just do it again. Or you can say victim your whole life,
right.
if that's what you want. But I know that the secret is really holding yourself accountable and continuing to move forward, no matter what it is. Spouse left you, lost your job, your best friend died, whatever it is. Unless you intend on dying too,
right.
You're gonna have to get back to life.
Facts.
Okay, and that's gonna require tenacity. It's gonna require some resilience. It's gonna require that blueprint that maybe you don't know the answers, but I know them. They're in a book. Go read a book. It doesn't even have to be my book. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I want people to take that away. You can do anything that you want to do in this life. It's what I tell my kids all the time. You can do anything you want to do as long as you decide to do it. But deciding to do it is going to require tenacity. You're going to have to be tenacious. You're going to have to take courageous action. You're going to have laser focus. You're going to have adaptive determination, resilient recovery, all these things that I have in here. You need those things to win. It's just not, there's no other thing. Everybody has these concepts. Look at Angela Duckworth. She wrote Grit, right? Well, she wrote the book Grit based on studies. I wrote Be Tenacious based on real life.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a difference. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that her work isn't great or that I don't agree with it, because I do, but I just took it a step further. I codified it through real life experience. I redefined a word. I explicitly didn't use the word grit just to ensure that it was completely different, because it's not the same thing. Mine's tied to real life experience, military experience, foster care experience, living in the street experience. Like, it's just different. So I hope that's what people take away from it, is like tenacity is required to do whatever it is that you're trying to do, and stop making excuses for yourself. Everybody's got a story. What are you going to do with it? I'm hoping I'm using mine to help people, you know?
You're helping more people than you think, because the fact that people can relate to a story, regardless if they went through the exact same thing they did, which no one will, but even people that
there's going to be pieces.
There's going to be pieces, right? You're relating to a sailor. You're relating to somebody that decided to go all in on themselves to go in business. You're related to somebody that is a father. You're relating to somebody that lost and won again, lost financially, then won again, lost houses, then won again. You know, you're relating in many different ways, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But Mike, this book is going to put so many people's mindset in a positive way, but more importantly, this is going to help you continue to help other people, because that is what you've been placed here for. So congratulations,
Appreciate
Mike.
that.
Seriously, I love this. Be Tenacious. It's coming out now. By the time this is out, it's going to be coming out now, or you can at least pre-order
September
it.
15th.
So it's coming out, all right? Yeah. So whenever you see this one, whenever Edgar decides to put this on the internet, you will have this link where you can get all the information that you can buy this book and pre-order it and read it. You can get it hardback, you can get it paperback, you can even get the audio one at some point, because I think Mike is just going to start dropping.
Kindle too.
In Kindle. I'm just kidding. You can't get the audio yet, but I'm trying to convince him to start doing the audio on this one, because it only enhances the brand, but it also enhances the delivery of the emotion on everything that was written here by this guy's brain. Mr. Mike Little, Mr. Broker from the bottom. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I didn't think you were going to read the whole book, though.
I did read the whole book. I can read the whole book. I'm a reader when it's something I really want to do. If not, I'll make an excuse.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
I didn't think you were going to drop this off to my house at 9 o'clock at night.
I'm tenacious.
That's what I'm saying.